What's up, everybody? My name's Tony Calgene. I'm a college football coach, and welcome to my vlog. A real quick background on myself. As I mentioned, college coach, 13 years of experience. I've coached high school, Division III, NAIA, both Group of 5, Power 5. I was an FCS player, so I really understand the college game, both from the coaching, player, recruiting, all that stuff. You guys might know me from Twitter, at Coach Cage, kind of known for giving recruiting tips and that type of stuff. So if you follow me through there and found me, I appreciate it. If you haven't, definitely give me a follow there, and then obviously like and subscribe this. So brief overview of kind of what this blog is going to be. Okay, so there's three things that I want to get at. So the first one is I want to tell you what's going on in college football right now. What are college coaches doing this week, this month, this year? I guess not this year, but this part of the year. Okay. Then I want to tell you what's going on with myself. My career, my story, and just kind of give you the inside scoop of what it's like to be a college football coach, the things that we go through, and just kind of what I'm dealing with at the time. And then finally, I want to tell you about what you should be doing right now. So if you're a player, if you're a parent, if you're a high school coach, just some tips and advice for, again, this time of the year. We're in February right now. What can you be doing to maximize the recruitment process for yourself or your student athletes? Okay, so first things first. So college football, what are we doing right now? So it really depends on what level you're at. So it is dead period. So most of FBS, FCS, they are no longer really recruiting. Okay, so let's look at it from the FBS perspective. Okay, so right now they're really just crushing cut-ups. They're watching film from this past year, trying to improve on what they did, what worked, what didn't work. They're watching other teams who had success or didn't have success or whatever it might be, to get an idea of what do they want to do going forward. All right, so a lot of this is evaluation, self-evaluation, evaluation of your players. Players are in the weight room right now, probably 3 to 4 times a week, getting bigger and stronger. And this is where a lot of the development happens in college football. So recruiting is really on the back burner. Recruiting offices, they're starting to look at, depending on, again, what level, 24s, 25s, maybe FCS is starting to dive into the 24s. But again, a lot of it is just kind of uncovering kids and getting guys on the board so they can be evaluated, kind of come that May period. So that's kind of what's going on at the Division I level. Division II, depending on who you are, some schools probably are done with their class. There's some schools that are still going to keep on going. And then Division III, NAIA, a lot of them will kind of be recruiting through probably March. Unless it's those really top academic schools where, their cutoff was November 1st, February 1st, or something like that. So if you are 23, recruiting is still going on. I wouldn't reach out to, the Alabamas or the Clemsons of the world, because they are not looking for those types. But again, Division III, NAIA, junior colleges, all those schools, especially in your area, so many schools, like they have a footprint. They're recruiting 3 to 5 hours outside of where they are, or if their head coach is from a certain state. But I would pull up a map and just look at all the schools within kind of 4 to 5 hours away from you, and those are the ones that you should reach out to, try to visit, all that stuff. Okay, so that's really what's going on in college football right now. Again, not so much recruiting. It's more of that film study, getting ready for spring ball, where the college teams get to work with their players, and really it's basically a month of practice every other day. So that's when you get into college, probably going to be when you do the most learning, the most development. So coaches are really focused on that. We do have junior days coming up, and I'll probably have another installment about junior days themselves, just because, there's just a lot to be said. And as I said, I will definitely cover that in a future episode. All right, what's going on in my life? Man, a whole lot has been going on. So if you followed me, I kind of blew up on Twitter when I was at University of Akron a few years ago. I think it was 2020. I've just been going through it, going up and down. So from University of Akron, I ended up volunteering there because of COVID cutbacks. Was able to have a couple interviews and end up taking a DC job at Whittier College out in California. And I was excited about the opportunity to get to coordinate, and really felt like a place that we could build something. My wife is from LA, so everything was trending in the right direction until I got out there. And it was one of those things that I walked in the door having looked at the roster, and I thought there was a lot of young players, and I'm like, man, like we could be pretty good, only to really find out a lot of those guys either left school or quit during COVID. And really, I mean, like we had 27 guys on defense when I first got there. I think we had like about 50 guys on the team in total. So it was really difficult that first year, just to complete a game, let alone really compete and challenge and win. I thought our staff did an incredible job recruiting that offseason. We brought in 53 or 55 kids, so thought it was going to be enough to really compete. But again, we had 40 guys on defense. We're probably starting 17 first years on both offense and defense. There was one game where we had 7 first years playing significant snaps on defense, and anytime you're playing first years, it's just going to be tough. They're not as developed, they don't understand the scheme as much. So had a tough 2 years, but I did a lot of learning. Continue to grow my connects in Southern California, which has been really awesome. It's one of the most fertile grounds in recruiting that there is. But unfortunately, the school ended up dropping the program, and as I said, they never really supported us. So I'm not surprised looking back. I have a bad taste in my mouth, but the writing was kind of on the wall. But I have been fortunate. I've been able to volunteer at UCLA, just having been in the LA area and making some connections there. So I've been helping out in the recruiting office and just learning from them and trying to provide the most opportunity, or I guess the most value to them, so I can get an opportunity. So I am still on the market right now. So any coaches watching, ring me up. So that's kind of what's going on in my life. I would love to talk a little bit more about unemployment, especially what it means for coaches in a future installment, because man, I've never questioned myself so much. It's been really difficult at times. Diving into this last piece. Okay, so what should you be doing right now? So if you're a high school player, my number one piece of advice is you need to be locked in and focused on the task at hand. Whether that's winter track, wrestling, basketball, whatever that is, awesome. Enjoy that experience, but focus in the classroom. Get those good grades. If you're a junior, sophomore, you're starting to look at the SAT and ACT. A lot of places have made that optional since COVID, but a lot of places still require it. So just get ahead in the classroom and all that stuff. Because again, like I said, recruiting is not on the forefront of coaches' minds right now. Okay, if you're a parent, like I said before, kind of touched on junior days. Junior days are about to be really, really big. I don't know if junior days will make or break your recruitment. As I said, I'll elaborate on that soon. But be prepared to kind of go around the country, around the state, hitting up some junior days, because it is good to get on coaches' radars and kind of put a face to the name and let them know that you're interested. Okay. The big thing for parents, I think, coming up is going to be the summer camp circuit. Okay, so whether you're looking at the dream school or you're really competing for an offer or walk-on spot, summer camp is huge in the evaluation process. Okay, because one, coaches want to get to know who you are. They want to see how you're going to take coaching. But two, and I think probably more importantly, is they want to see how you run. They want to see what you measure at, all that good stuff. So a lot of summer camps are really a money grab. They're going to mass email 5,000 people and hope that they can get 500 and be able to pay their GAs and analysts with that money. So I think you have to be really smart about what summer camps to go to, and I can definitely dive into that in a future episode. But I would just be prepared right now for junior days. Get prepared for summer camp. Start throwing some money to the side because those camps run $50 to $100 per camp, and I think you probably want to hit maybe 3 to 5 of them. Obviously, the more that you're able to go to, the better opportunity your son's going to have. Okay, from the high school coach perspective, Okay, as I said, right now, I think the big thing that you can do is really kind of build rapport with the coaches that you have connections with and get a feel for what their school is looking for. For instance, when I was at Whittier, we're looking for a totally different thing than when I was at Ursinus, when I was at Franklin and Marshall, when I was at University of Akron, and now even what they're looking at UCLA. So, each school, like I mentioned before, has that footprint, both geographically and then from a grade perspective, and then obviously is a player talented enough to be able to play there. So really pick those coaches' brains. Hey coach, what's your footprint? Because I have coaches that reach out to me now, both when I was at Whittier and at UCLA now. They're from South Carolina or just somewhere across the country, and realistically we're not going to recruit those players. We don't have a high yield factor there. It would just take some really kind of extenuating circumstances for us to recruit that player. I would, again, for coaches as well, kind of look at that 3 to 5 hour radius and try to build those connections so you can set up pipelines to the schools in your area. Obviously, if you have a major Power 5 player, they're probably on 247 Sports and Rivals and all that stuff, and they don't really need your help. It's going to be the guys who are Division 2, Division 3, NAIA type guys who need the exposure and your recommendation. So get to know those coaches, what they're looking for, what their program is looking for, and what they can get in. That's really about it. Dead period in college football, February. Really not a whole lot going on, but looking forward to spring ball, junior days, summer camps. There's a lot that's going to be really, really important in the recruitment process, and I look forward to covering that with you soon. If you've liked this, please subscribe, tell your friends, send it to everybody, because I just want to be able to put the best possible information out there. Thank you for joining me.